It's your go-to place for guidance. Step inside, see how good the vibe is. It's a girl talk and you're all invited. Cause every girl needs a girlfriend.
Welcome to the Girlfriend's Girlfriend podcast. I'm Rashonda, your host and good girlfriend, here to give it to you straight. If you need a boost or a quick pick-me-up, this show's got you. With wisdom, warmth, and a bit of humor, we'll talk about all sorts of relationships, including the ones with ourselves, friends, and life's ups and downs. Think of it as your monthly girl time. Quick note and disclaimer, I'm not a licensed therapist nor a counselor, just a coach offering support with a fresh perspective. Now, let's chat, girlfriend.
Every girl needs a girlfriend.
Hey girlfriend, welcome back to another episode of the Girlfriend's Girlfriend podcast. Can you believe we're already wrapping up the year? It's wild how time flies. If you've been rocking with us since October, then you know we've been diving into some deep and transformative topics, all about working on ourselves so we can step into 2025 stronger, more focused, and ready to align our minds, bodies, and lives. In our last episode, Are You a Body Bully? It Deserves Better, we dug deep into how we treat our bodies. And we talked about how harmful self-talk and negative perceptions can affect our health, and how we need to stop being bullies to our own bodies. We learned to speak life over ourselves and treat our bodies with love and care, recognizing that our physical health is just as important as our emotional and mental health. And with that in mind, I have a question for you. Did you name your body? Did you give your body a name? Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you have to go back and listen to that episode, because I didn't say it was homework like in the last episode, but hopefully you took it as homework and you gave your body a name, okay? Name her, all right? Now, today, we're going to take what we've learned about treating ourselves better and apply it to the relationships we have with others. So just like our bodies deserve love and care, so do we when it comes to the people we allow in our lives. In this short episode, we're going to talk briefly about the importance of vetting people before allowing them into your space. Yes, both mentally and physically. So if you're ready, girl, I hope you've got your notebook, get comfy, and let's get this session started.
It's story time.
Have you ever thought about the access you're giving people to, that you're giving people in your life? Whether it's friends, family, or people you're dating, the level of access you give isn't something to be handed out freely, right? Access is something that's earned. I know, as an open person, this has been a challenge for me. I tend to share a lot and trust people quickly, but I've learned that not everyone deserves the key to my life. Sometimes we give access through our words, by oversharing, or letting people into our mental space before they've proven they're trustworthy. In other cases, we give physical access to our homes or personal areas without truly knowing who we're dealing with. I'm reminded of a story I heard on the Cocktails and Takeaways podcast with Madam Joyce, okay, on YouTube. Go check her out. She had Jada Waiter, on there, which is, Jada is an IG star. She's an entrepreneur. She's an author. And on her show entitled Jada Waiter Talks, Getting Stalked, Atlanta Nightlife and Sugar Mummies, okay? Jada spoke on getting stalked and the links people with bad intentions will find ways to get access to you. So on the podcast, Jada spoke on going to a hosting and later found out that a random guy put a tracker on her pink Jeep. After the meeting, she went back to her townhome, which was one of her spots, and the guy followed her there. But because it was a townhome community, he didn't exactly know which home was hers. And Jada mentioned the guy used to DM her quite often, and she ended up blocking him. However, because he didn't know her exact location, this guy okay, this geezer, I guess you can say, DM'd all of Jada's friends and said, could y'all tell Jada to come outside? I'm waiting on her. What? Like, are you serious right now? Talk about scary. Well, thankfully, this was not Jada's main digs. It was just a place she took people after a night out and so forth. So I wanted to mention this because I was glad to hear that it wasn't Jada's main home. Listen, girlfriend was smart. Even after a night out, she took people to a place that wasn't her main home. All right. It was just an entertainment spot or an entertainment place, I suppose you could call it. This is what I mean by we must be smart, ladies, and men in this day and time to not give people too much access. So I'm not just talking to the ladies. I don't know if men would listen to this podcast, but if you are a man and you are listening to this podcast, you need to be careful too. Okay, about who you giving access to, what lady you giving access to. Okay, and ladies, we need to be smart about who we giving access to. And this isn't just for like our personal relationships, like, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, I'm trying to get to know you, dating type stuff. This is also to your friends. And for some of us to, you know, this extends to family members, okay, as well, all right, because every family member is not created equal. All right, you don't know people. Sometimes we don't know our own friends or family members. So, you know, and then there was another instance. So it's the same when Travis Scott, I'm sure all of y'all know him. He told a child, don't touch me. At first, it might seem rude, but he understood that even innocent gestures can open the door to something bigger. So he was coming out, and this child just jumped in front of him and went to touch him to ask for a picture, and he stepped back and was like, don't touch me. The child was like, oh, okay. I mean, he gave a quick photo op and went on by his business. But you know what? We don't always know people's intentions. So we must be careful about who we let into our lives. And in the age of social media, things can be extremely hard to keep private, especially if you're a celebrity like Jada Waiter or Travis Scott. However, even with social media, be smart about what you share, what you say, and how much information you give out, such as your location status. Okay. Let's focus on the power of boundaries and using them to our advantage. So it's essential to take your time to get to know people before giving them access to you. And this isn't just something I'm telling you. Listen, I am preaching to the choir. Okay. I got a whole choir over here and I'm preaching to it. So we have to really take time to vet people. Whether it's a romantic relationship or friendship or even family, not everyone deserves immediate access to your space, your time, or your mind. Okay? So we've been talking about the circles in our lives. And I know I just seemed like I just jumped right into it. But especially those toxic ones that need to go. But before we dive into creating and nurturing healthier circles, I'm going to give you some tips. We're going to take a quick break. So stick around, girlfriend. You don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, girlfriends, it's time for our special segment, something new, something old, something borrowed, something blue. So let's dive in. Starting with something new, we're diving into the Mandela effect. Have you ever heard of that? The Mandela effect? So a really close and good friend of mine was telling me about this. And I had no idea what it was because I had never heard of it. Of course, I knew Nelson Mandela, but I had never heard of the Mandela effect. Well, the Mandela effect, just in case you haven't heard of it, and you know, you might have, but it's a lady by the name of Fiona Broome attended a conference where she talked to people who remembered Nelson Mandela passing away in the 80s, right? Okay, Nelson Mandela was, you know, the president of South Africa, but she remembered, and people was talking, they thought the man passed away in the 80s, when in reality, the man didn't pass away until 2013. So, you know, why was people thinking that he passed away in the 80s and he didn't pass away until like seemed like a century later. But so that's what the Mandela effect is. It's when our minds remember something that's completely different from reality, such as the board game Monopoly. Remember the Monopoly man? Do you remember him having a monocle? That little glass, eye? Or what about Pikachu from Pokemon? Remember when he had that black tip on his tail, right? Or hearing the famous Star Trek phrase, "Beam me up, Scotty." I remember I used to, say that. Or what about the Berenstain Bears? Okay, there's some controversy over how it's actually spelled. Okay, STEIN or is it STAIN? Okay, so, but guess what? None of those things are true. So listen, if you want to have a little fun and you want to have like some interesting and fun and fascinating conversations, look up the Mandela effect and explore how perception and reality sometimes don't align. So I think it'll make for some really good conversations, but I'm putting it out there. Listen, next is something old. I want to share a couple of books close to my heart. First, my children's book. Now, God blessed me to write this book like back in 2018, but it's called Billy Wolf and the Kids of Heavenly Hills Elementary. And it's a perfect book for young readers, okay, especially in school. Bullying, which is what the book is about, is one of the top things in our world today that our children face, unfortunately, and they experience, and some adults too. But so it tackles topics such as bullying and overcoming challenges. And for our grown-up readers, okay, my co-authored book, My Husband Chose the Homewrecker Over Me, Now What? Okay, this book came out last year, I think February of last year, with the fabulous Yolanda Randolph, offers guidance on rebuilding and moving forward after infidelity and divorce. These stories remind us that no matter how hard life gets, every chapter has the potential for greatness. So you can find both books and more from Yolanda on Amazon or your favorite book retailer. Now on to something borrowed. Listen, here's a thought for this season. Strength grows in the moments you think you can't go on, but you do. I'll say that again. Strength grows in the moments you think you can't go on, but you do. Borrow that and let it remind you of your resilience, especially during this holiday season. And finally, something blue. Let's take a moment to remember those spending the holidays alone, whether they're missing loved ones, facing heartbreak, or simply feeling unseen. This season, let's be intentional about reaching out. Now, I have to be honest and transparent. Sometimes I am bad about reaching out, or sending a text. You know how sometimes, people will come across your mind and you like, oh, I'll reach out to them. I'll see. And then life happens and you never reach out, so don't let that be you, okay? Because that's been me. And I've had somebody on my heart that I really need to reach out to, but I was kind of seeing like if they were going to reach out to me first. So listen, a simple text, a phone call, or even a kind gesture can make all the difference. Now I'm going to get on my ball and I'm going to reach out to my person. So you get on your ball and you reach out to your person, okay? So that's it for today's segment of something new, something old, something borrowed, and something blue. So now let's get back into our segment. All right, welcome back, girlfriend. Now that we've tackled the toxic, okay, let's shift gears and talk about the circles that pour into us, support us, and help us grow. These are the ones that make life so much sweeter. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about protecting your access. All right. Number one, set boundaries early. Okay, be clear about your boundaries from the beginning. People will treat you the way you allow them to. So set boundaries very early. First, I'm not saying you go in and just as soon as you start talking, you start setting boundaries. I mean, you get to know people first, listen to them. I try to listen to people more than I talk. And sometimes I feel like I'm talking more than I listen. But I try to listen to people because sometimes there are clues. There are red flags, and there's some things that they may say that just may not sit, so well with you or with your spirit. with your mind, and it's like, I don't know about this, or whatever. And if you're uncomfortable, then, start setting some boundaries early. And because the earlier, the better. It doesn't really work if you set them like in the midst of things, when things is very chaotic and so out of control, then you're trying to set boundaries. No, you should have set them early on, okay? Trust me, people will always give you an idea about who they are. It's up to us to take notes and to listen, right? Number 2, vet people thoroughly. Take your time to get to know someone before giving them access to your personal life. Trust is earned over time, not immediately, okay? You know how sometimes, you can get to talking to people and whatever, and it's like, you just instantly, you guys click instantly, you just, everything is good, you bam, bam, bam. It's like, okay. But then, there are some times where, you may want to take your time to get to know people. And it's crazy because you really get to know people. I always say this, you get to know people's character when a couple of life things happen. When you get married, when you get divorced, funerals, right? And yeah, when you're going through a life crisis, don't have no money. That's when you really see people for who they really are. That's when their character really comes into the limelight. So really take your time to get to know people before giving them access to your personal life. Number 3, recognize oversharing as access. Be mindful of how much you share with people, especially early in relationships or friendships. Sharing too much too soon can invite others into your mental space without earning that right. And then sometimes you can share like too much, right? Oversharing that means you're giving somebody access to you. If you start saying, well, hey, when I was with, my ex, I used to give him, all types of money for this, and that, and I paid this and I paid that. That's giving somebody access. That's letting them know, okay, you free with your money, and I can do this and I can say this and you'll do the same thing for me. Now I'm going to be a little smarter than they was so I can keep it flowing. So just be careful. And that's just an example. But just be careful because oversharing is giving people access to your mental health. And then they can take that and then they can use it against you. Okay. Number 4, watch actions, not just words. Listen, baby, I am an action person. Forget your words. I'm looking at how you acting. I'm looking at your body language. I'm looking at your eyes. Okay, I'm looking at your eyes, looking over the room. I'm looking at how many times you looking at your watch while I'm talking to you. I'm looking at the fact that you picking up your phone talking when I'm, trying to have I'm looking at everything because I'm an observer. I watch people's actions more than anything. And I can't tell you over my life how many things I've seen. Right, I've seen people do, I've seen people facial expressions, I've seen the way people move, and they wouldn't have even thought that I was even watching or that I was even looking, but I was. Like, I was watching you. I saw you make that face. Okay, I saw what you did. So I'm an action watcher. Forget your words, baby. It's your action. So pay attention to what people do, not just what they say. Okay, actions often reveal intentions quicker than words do. It's not what you do, it's what you say. All right, okay. Number 5, reevaluate your circles. Take a look at the people who have access to your life. Do they deserve it? Is it time to close the door to some who no longer belong? Like, I feel like just like there's seasons, summer, spring, summer, winter, and fall. And you know how we do spring cleaning, every season you might do some cleaning, or you might do, I feel like we need to do cleaning with our phones. Because sometimes, how many of us right now, all right, got a person's number in our phone that we haven't talked to in like 6 months, a year, 2 years? But their number is still in your phone. Like, why? Like, if you're not talking. or they haven't texted you and I don't know when, or they just dropped off and just stopped texting you. You don't even know why. Like, what happened? We need to go through our phones and just reevaluate. Like, who is this person? Do we talk? I mean, what access do they have? What are they giving me? What am I getting from this friendship? What am I getting from this relationship? What's happening here? Like, you got to ask yourself some questions. So just like we take our time and we clean our houses and we get stuff, done, per seasons. Every season, we need to go through our phones. We need to check some stuff out. Maybe you even got some stuff laying around that somebody gave you that, just clean house, okay? Clean phone. And sometimes, as I said on another podcast, sometimes it means even getting a new number. New number, new you, okay? So, but you gotta come to that decision. But it's just, take a look at people and the access that they have in your life. Are they helping you or are they hurting you? Okay. Are they moving you forward or are they moving you back? Or are you at a standstill? Or are you not talking at all? So reevaluate your circles. Girl, listen. This journey of protecting your access isn't about shutting people out, but it's about ensuring that the people in your life have earned the right to be there. We often give too much, too quickly, leaving ourselves vulnerable. And it's okay to be cautious, okay? It's okay to take your time. It's okay to close some doors and lock them, okay? Don't just close it, honey. Some doors are meant to just be closed because I feel like in certain seasons of your life, maybe those doors will come back open for a specific purpose. But honey, some doors you close, baby, you not only need to lock them, you need to bolt lock them. Okay, you need to call a locksmith. Okay, you need to handle that. Some doors need to be closed and locked. You deserve to have people in your life who support you, uplift you, and truly care about you. You are worth more than being someone's second option or an afterthought. And if you feel like you've given too much access in the past, remember, it's never too late to take it back. Okay, now we're going to go into a word of prayer. Y'all know how I like to do because this is how we sum up. This is how we sum up these little episodes, okay? Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for wisdom and discernment when it comes to the relationships in our lives. Help us to set boundaries that protect our hearts, our minds, and our spirits. Give us the courage to reevaluate the people we've given access to and the strength to close doors that need to be closed. We ask for the patience to let trust be earned and the clarity to see people's intentions clearly. Guide us as we learn to protect our space and help us to never forget that we are worthy of being treated with love and respect. In Jesus' name, amen. And just like that, we've come to the end of another episode, ladies. I hope this conversation helped you take a closer look at the access you've given, to others and reminded you that your time, space, and mind are precious, okay? I know it helped me. Now, I've got some exciting news. Starting in January, the podcast will drop on the third Mondays of each month. So mark your calendars for January. I think that would be the 20th. We'll be jumping into a topic that I know we all struggle with from time to time, the power of saying a 2-letter word, no. Yep, we're going there because sometimes no is the most powerful word you can say. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Learning to say no is going to set the tone for 2025 and beyond. So as we wrap up 2024, I hope the last few episodes have been the start of something special for you, a journey toward a more successful, fulfilled, and intentional year. And we're just getting started. And don't worry, we're keeping this train moving with more juicy topics, real talk, and those must-have discussions. So until our next chat, Have a happy new year, girlfriend. You know I've got the tab. I'll see you at our next outing. Take real good care of yourself. Peace. Thanks for joining today's Girlfriend's Girlfriend podcast outing. I hope our chat brought you comfort and a new perspective. Listen, if you got a question, don't forget you can text the show or email me at inspirationswithroshonda@gmail.com, and it might be featured in an upcoming episode. Remember, every girl needs a friend, and I'm here for advice, a laugh, or just to listen. Stay connected by subscribing, and you'll never miss a new episode. Until our next chat, this girlfriend's out. Peace.